In 2010, I was 14 years old, and I walked into Vestavia Hills High School on the first day of school. I had, up to that point in my life, been at a small private school with 20 people in my entire grade. And now I was walking into a school where there was 500 people in my grade, and I didn't know a single person. Nobody knew my name, and I was the new kid. So that was 15 years ago, and talking about it now still makes me feel a little bit nervous, just because that was a really big time in my life, and so we're going to dive into that a little bit more. Meanwhile, he was starting the 7th grade at Pacific, not as cool as Liberty Park, I know, and he was just trying to be cool, so we'll talk about that too. But my name is Arden, and this is my brother Hampton, and we're going to kick off Career Day with all of you, which we're really excited to do, and tell a little bit more of our stories, share a little bit about what we do in our careers, and talk a little bit about leadership through that LEAD acronym. I did want to start with a picture that's a little bit funny to us and maybe hard for you to see, but this was the first day of my senior year and the first day of Hampton's sophomore year at Vestavia High School. And you probably can't tell, thankfully, but I still had braces in this picture when I was a senior. So I wish all of you better luck with that department. If you have braces now, just think about if you still had them when you were a senior. You surely will not, but that was me. And then hopefully all of you will choose a better hairstyle than Hampton as well. So jokes aside, you know, the kids in these pictures still did not know what they wanted to do. And that's okay, we're going to talk about that today. But I will tell you that there are things you can be doing today to prepare for what you will end up doing one day. And we will dive into that.
Yes, from that. Just a second, mic's not working, hang on. I think that was on me, that was my fault, everybody.
Yeah, you have
All
to
right,
turn
we're back. So yeah, I'm still recovering. I still have some neck pain from all the hair flipping that I did back in the day. I'm looking around the room now and Bill's hair looks a lot cooler than mine did. I thought it was good at the time, but looking back, why was it? Anyway, but I'm here to tell you that leadership is way more about who you are than what you do. And I had no idea what I wanted to do in middle school as a grown-up. I had no idea what I wanted to do in high school. I didn't even know for most of college. And so I hope that can relieve some pressure for some of you today. I wouldn't say that today is all about making the decision of who you're going to be one day. Certainly think about it. A lot of the things that you do right now can affect that. But what I can guarantee you is that if you start focusing on who you're becoming, the person that you're becoming, that will absolutely have an impact on your life for the rest of middle school and high school and college and beyond. And so Arden and I learned this later than we would like, and so we hope that some of you can learn this right now. We get to talk about this kind of thing a lot at work, and I'll let Arden explain a little bit more about what we do.
Yes, so we both went to Stanford University, and I mean, there's clearly a trend here. I went to Vestavia, I went to Stanford, I'm at Fire Seeds. Hampton's just followed me all the way. So we actually work sort of for the same company. They're called sister companies. And so I'm with the Fire Seeds team, he's with the Wild Spark team. We work in the same building. But to share a little bit more about my role, it is a recruiting firm, a search firm. So basically, if you have a company that needs a director or a vice president or someone in their C-suite, that company will come to Fire Seeds and we will go out and find that person, we will interview them and place them with the company. So we are a search firm, and that's what I do. So I'm a senior search consultant, also lead a team of consultants, and am on our leadership team as well. And I've actually been there since I graduated from college. So I'm coming up on 7 years with Fire Seeds and love getting to serve the clients we do and love getting to engage with leaders across the country in a variety of different industries.
And I work at Wild Spark. I've been there almost 5 years, and we do leadership development. So Fire Seeds, what happened is they were doing a really good job of placing all of these leaders in different organizations. So the organization would come back to them and say, hey, the person you brought us is really great. I don't know where you found that kind of leader. We happen to have a lot of people within our organization who could use a little bit of work on this stuff. Can you help out with that? And so 10 years later, we have an app called Wild Spark that helps people become better leaders. And I started out there as an intern, and I made about 100 cold calls a day. I don't know if anybody knows what that is. It's a little scary. You call complete strangers and ask them to meet with you, and most of them say no. But that was something that I got to learn. I learned how to take rejection, and that was really helpful for me. And then I went into a full-time sales role there where I was selling our app to different companies around here and really around the country. And then now I lead our customer success team. And many of you use different softwares that you might be subscribed to. Maybe at this point it's your parents. An example might be something like, I don't know, Netflix. Yes, they want you to buy it one time, but they want you to really buy it again and again and again. And at WildSpark, that's my job now. I get to lead the team, and we are working with companies to make sure that they're happy and want to continue working with us. So I'll let Arden talk a little bit more about like the mission of each company.
So like I said, being sister companies, it means we have the same owner and we have the same vision, mission, and values as a company, even though we have two separate services. And so our mission, which is what I wanted to share a little bit more about, is to discover. So that's Fire Seats. We're discovering these leaders. We're deploying them out into different organizations, different companies. And then WildSpark is coming in and developing those leaders. And so you can see our tagline there, multiplying leaders. That's really why we exist as a company. But it's also something that is a principle that you could apply today. If you have somebody pouring into you and developing you as a leader, you can take those skills and develop the other people around you as leaders, and it's going to create a multiplication effect. And so that's ultimately why we exist as a company. And then WildSpark, you see their tagline is leaders ready. They are making leaders ready to go out and multiply themselves as well. So it's a really cool organization that we both loved getting to work for. And it's really why our companies exist.
And both of our companies are growing a lot right now. And on one hand, that's good because that's how I provide for my family. But on another hand, it's sad because we have a real problem in our world today. I believe we have a really big leadership deficit. And what I mean by that is there's not enough leaders to go around. And I believe that everyone deserves to have a great leader. You do. Whether that's a parent or a teacher or a coach or a team captain, you all deserve to have a great leader. But every great leader deserves to be equipped and positioned to be great. And oftentimes, that's not happening. Our workforce, so whether you work at a hospital or an accounting firm or you're in sports or you work at a school, of course not Liberty Park, but the engagement of employees is lower than it's ever been. And so people are showing up to work, adults, maybe even some of your parents are showing up to work and they're not very engaged. They don't feel very appreciated. They don't know how they're connecting to the mission of the organization. And a big part of that is because they don't have a great leader. And people don't leave their jobs. They leave their manager. They leave their leader. And so I care a lot about the future of our world. And so that's why we're here today. I want to challenge some of you to start learning to lead right now. And everything that we say for the next 10 or so minutes, we don't have that much longer, will go in one ear and out the other. It certainly did for me in middle school, but if you don't have this mindset that I'm going to talk about, so there's this concept of having a growth mindset or a fixed mindset. So I had a fixed mindset certainly in middle school, in high school, and really most of college. And what that means is I was obsessed with natural talent. I did not like failing. I don't think anyone likes failing, but I didn't see failure as like an opportunity to learn something and grow. And I certainly stayed in my comfort zone. I'll give you a few examples. Back in middle school, I was pretty fast. I was really good at track back then, and I was the fastest kid in my grade. And I didn't really actually have to try that hard. But then when I got to high school, people started catching up to me because I didn't really work hard. Another example is I wasn't the smartest student in my class by any means, and I wanted to be the best, and because of that, I just kind of hid and just kind of made it by in class. And what I should have done is given it my all, but I didn't do that because even if I gave it my all, I knew I probably wanted to be the best. And that made me really insecure. And so that's a fixed mindset. That's somebody that just says, oh, I'm just not going to be as smart as other people. I'm just not going to be as athletic as other people. I'm just not going to have as many friends as other people. And I had that mindset for so long. I just thought that the way that I was is the way that I'll always be. But the concept of a growth mindset is essential in order to be a leader worth following, because leaders are learners. And in order to learn, you got to get out of your comfort zone. You have to fail. You have to fall on your face sometimes. And so I challenge all of you just to think about the concept of having a growth mindset and say, am I staying in the comfort zone? Am I never taking any risk? Am I never putting myself out there? And if so, ask yourself why. And maybe you're insecure. I was when I was your age. I still am right now sometimes. But as we get into just a couple of these things, as we talk about this LEAD acronym, I want us to have this mindset, this growth mindset of somebody that's hungry to learn. So lead us into it, Arden.
So it sounds like you all have been exposed to this acronym, and Hampton and I were excited to dive into this a little bit further as we were preparing for this, but thinking through legacy, empathy, action, determination. I love those words, and could be a lot that you hear today, and so I encourage you to just think through what's one thing that I could start to apply to my life today, because regardless of where you end up, whether you are in the medical field or work for a bank or work for Chick-fil-A, you will be serving people in some capacity, and so these words will matter, and they also matter now in middle school. So we're going to dive into that, and Hampton's going to kick us off talking a little bit about legacy.
So I know you all are familiar with this, but I'll bring maybe a bit of a different perspective to it. The president of the college that I went to used to often say, we sit in the shade of trees that we did not plant. And that applies to me, and it applies to you too. There are so many people who have gone before you to build the life that you were really just born into. So whether it's a parent, a teacher, a coach, a mentor, a friend, an aunt, an uncle, somebody in your life has done something for you to give you the opportunities that you have today. And if we step into that with entitlement and think that we just deserve it and then live for ourselves, then ultimately that's going to stop one day. The people behind us aren't going to get to benefit the things that we got to benefit because we were selfish. And so a question for you, a challenge to ask yourself is, am I leaving things better than I found them? You probably learned this when you were 5 years old, but this always matters. Say, am I leaving things better than I found them? You might say, Hampton, I don't really care about having an impact. I'm pretty selfish. I doubt anyone in this room would say that, but even if that's you, even if all you care about is yourself, you're not going to be able to go very far in your career if you're only thinking about yourself. You got to bring other people along with you. You got to think about the people behind you. You have to develop other leaders. You'll go much farther with other people. And so just ask yourself this question, am I leaving things better than I found them? And I think that'll help you start to think about leaving a legacy.
The next is empathy, and most of us probably know what that word means, but I want you to think about it through this lens. When you're in a conversation, or just how you are in your life, are you more concerned with being interested in what other people are saying, or coming across as interesting? If I'm being honest, a lot of times, even now, I'm more focused on being interesting. I want people to think that what I'm saying is cool or exciting. But if you're really going to have a posture of empathy, it is much more important to be interested in what someone else is saying and what someone else is doing than to try to be interesting all the time or the most interesting person in the room. So quick exercise. I want everybody to think through some of the best listeners that they know in their life. It can be a friend, it can be a parent, a coach, a grandparent, it can be anyone. So once you have a couple people in your mind, I want you to think, did anyone put me on that list? Has anyone said that they think I'm one of the best listeners? When Hampton and I heard someone say that, we didn't make that up. And we both thought, I don't think anyone put us on their list. And so it was an encouragement to us as professionals that I wish someone would have encouraged us in middle school to think about. I want to be a better listener, and that's really how you exude empathy. The next is action, and I'm going to tell you a quick story from Vestavia. Like I said, I was a new student, and so people didn't know who I was. But I was interested in SGA. Well, that posed a problem for me because most of the time I thought, and there's probably some truth to this, is people vote for their friends, or people vote for people that they know. And so I actually went to the SGA meeting, and I looked around, and I saw who I'd be running against, and I thought, well, there's no way I'm going to win, so I just won't even put my name on the ballot. I didn't cast a vote for the future me. And so this quote here says, every action you take is a vote for the type of person you wish to become. What if I just put my name on the ballot? Would I have won? Probably not, maybe, but probably not, because people didn't know who I was. But what about sophomore year or junior year? If I would have cast a vote for the future me, I would have been setting myself up for potential success later down the road, or at the bare minimum for people to get to know me, even if I didn't win. So again, that's a little bit of that growth mindset. I'd be taking a step of faith and risking failure, but the future me would be proud of that action. So think about that today. Is the future you proud of the things you're doing today to set you up for down the road?
Okay, I've been nervous about this slide because if you see what's on my jersey here, it says Pizzitz. We all end up rebels together. We're all rebels right now. We all end up at the high school together one day. But yes, I did go to Pizzitz, everyone. But I do have a story from when I was your age. I started going to Vestavia in 7th grade. And I think at the time I was a pretty good kid. I was pretty determined. That's what it says above there. I think I had a lot of determination. I wanted to come in and make new friends and get on the basketball team and do all the things. And things were going pretty well for me. So much so that I found myself sitting in an assembly much like this, and my name got called to win the Citizenship Award. I don't know if we still do that, but at the time, there was a Citizenship Award, and I think that was just how you showed up and treated your peers and treated your teachers with respect and all those different things. And I'm standing on the stage, people are clapping, and I get a plaque, and I'm like the new kid. And at the time, I was proud. I thought that was pretty cool. My mom didn't tell me this at the time, but she told me when I was about 20 years old, so several years later, that the guys that I was sitting with when I was up on the stage started kind of whispering to each other and maybe even pointing, maybe laughing a little bit at me for winning that award, for, I guess, being a good kid. I don't know exactly what it was, and I didn't see that at the time, but I think a lot of my 7th grade, 8th grade, 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th grade, and maybe even into college, was shaped by that feeling. I maybe didn't see people laughing at me, but I felt it. And so I think that some of my determination started to lessen a little bit. I was afraid to be a tryhard. I don't know if y'all say that now. When I was in middle school, it was almost an insult to call someone a tryhard. Why do you care so much? Why are you being such a tryhard? A few of the ways that this played out throughout the rest of middle school and high school is I like to sing. We're not going to sing today, don't worry, we're not going to do that. If anyone in the audience would like to sing, if we have extra time, I may give you a chance to step out and do something bold, but we're not going to sing today. But I was involved in choir and I loved it. And I was a tenor. Guys, do you have any tenors in the room? Yes? Okay, well, there we go. In middle school, I definitely was a tenor. My voice hadn't started changing yet, but I wanted to be a bass, you know? And so I'm going a little bit too deep into choir here, but all that said, somebody turned around in class one time when I was singing my little tenor part and said, "Why are you singing so loud? Why do you care? Aren't we just in choir so we can go to Disney World and maybe hang out with the girls?" And I was like, "Oh, I like to sing." But I remember I sunk down a little bit, lost a little bit of determination. I mentioned that I was pretty good at track in middle school, so I find myself at the high school and I'm excelling, and then as I get into my later years in high school, people start catching up to me because I'm not really trying that hard, but I knew that in order to get better, I would have to work really hard. And I remember someone saying to me, "Why are you trying so hard, dude? Why does it matter so much?" I quit trying, and I ultimately ended up quitting the team. And I don't regret those things because it built me into the person I am today. I am determined now, and I do try really hard, but I just want to tell you that being determined and giving something your all and stepping out of your comfort zone and trying to do SGA and singing loud in choir, maybe you might be uncomfortable doing that in middle school right now. Maybe you're uncomfortable doing it in high school. But I promise you, being determined and being a tryhard will only serve you well in life. And now I find myself with a wife and a daughter, and I ask myself the question, why would I ever do anything but try my hardest. And so I'm just here to tell you, if you're determined to do something in this room, don't be afraid of being called a tryhard, because it's good to be a tryhard. So that's the challenge with determination. I'll let Arden recap the 4 of these, and we'll get you out of here soon.
Well, it looks like we're all going to be saved by the bell from Hampton putting someone on the spot to sing, because we are out of time. But I wanted to recap really quickly, because there's a lot that's going to be taught to you today. There's a lot you're going to hear, and it can go in one ear and out the other. But I want to encourage you to think about one thing you can take away. Is it, I want to have a growth mindset over a fixed mindset? Is it, I want to leave things better than I found them? Is it, I want to be interested over interesting? I want to be on somebody's list of who's the best listener they know. I want to cast a vote for the future me, even if it means risking failure. Or maybe the easiest one to remember is just be a tryhard. Because like Hampton said, the only time that you might get any flack for being a tryhard is probably in middle school and high school. After that, you're expected to try hard. And so starting that now is pivotal. So the last thing I'll say as we wrap up is, if nothing else, we have some future rebels here. So think about planting seeds for the people that come behind you, because that's personally a big deal at Hampton tonight. I hope you all enjoy your career day. Thank you so much.